Welcome to a special edition of the THSADA Director's Cut, recapping the largest state conference in association history. In this episode, we dig into the real conversations, leadership lessons, and powerful moments that made this year's event unforgettable. You'll hear from voices from across the state, including insights from the Texas Athletic Administrator Certification Sessions, Aspiring AD Academy, the junior high and middle school program, as well as exclusive interviews from the Director's Cut desk. Plus, we're showcasing the best presentation at the THSADA Innovative Showcase as an added bonus. Before we dive into those topics, we do want to thank our partner in this episode, and that's Game One, the brand behind your brand who helps teams express their identity and inspire their stories. Just a reminder, all these videos, as well as every video shot at the THSADA State Conference, is available online now for members, and membership renewals start July 1. Lastly, we'll be offering a brand new junior high and middle school individual and group membership options as well. So make sure to log in to THSADA.com to check that out. Thanks so much for watching, and we hope you enjoy this THSADA Director's Cut.
We had a coaches meeting April 1st, April Fool's Day of 2024, maybe 2023. And I had our coaches, I got to address the coaches about some items, some issues. One being when you could kind of start seeing that this Senate Bill 571 was coming, relations, inappropriate relationships, text messaging, et cetera, kind of giving them some forewarnings about some things that I was noticing. That's one thing I talked about was I asked them, I said, how many of y'all in here are teaching Calculus BC? And none of them raised their hands. How many of y'all are teaching actually honors courses? And just a very few, a smattering, raised their hand. How many of y'all are teaching pre-cal? How many of y'all are teaching AP English 3 or 4? Nobody raised their hand. We can do things like that and take care of our coaches to protect our athletic programs. Work with your superintendent on that, because I guarantee you, they want their accountability on the academic side strong. And I think I've said this before on this stage before, Dr. Braddock, that don't come into an interview with Tyler ISD or anywhere that I'm associated with, well, all of my coaches are going to be great teachers. You just said all of your coaches are going to be great teachers. I can tell you right now, no, they're not. I've done it long enough to know that. So stay away from that. Tell your coaches not to say that whenever they get in front of a principal, because they're not. Now, they can be great coaches, and they can be great teachers, but the two don't always gel, right?
Budget reality. Like I said, I've had my budget cut 10% and then 20% over the last 2 years. And so how do we remedy those things? We have to get creative with what we do. And that creativity becomes a leadership skill. Again, if you have crisis mode that you have to go into, and then we're able to address that in a professional way and move through it, man, that becomes a skill that you can add to your toolbox. We have the ice cream truck in Wharton, Texas, that comes out and will come to our games. And they said, hey, we'd like to set up the ice cream truck at the stadium. We don't sell ice cream in the concession stand for the boosters, so you're not really competing. So yeah, sure, why not? Come on out. We opened the gates and let her park her little truck right there inside the stadium. We did the same thing for baseball, softball. Didn't ask anything of her. And at the end of the season, she goes, hey, here's a check. Well, what's this for? This is 10% of my sales for the entire season. Here you go. Thanks for letting me come out. Awesome. That money went right back into the program. And that wasn't money that we were expecting. So anytime somebody gives you money, you can't say no, right? We have 5 home games next year, and we've got her booked for 4. There was one game she couldn't make. Come to find out the other day, we're talking to her, and she goes, yeah, El Campo wants to book me too. Cool, okay. So Coach Reeves got her booked now, and she said, look, I'm doing 4 for Wharton, I'll do 4 for y'all. And they were like, no, we want you for all of our games. We're not worried about them. And she goes, no, I gotta be even about it. But so now what we started doing this year is something that has grown now to another community down the road. I got to put T-Mobile up here. T-Mobile's Friday night 5G lights for communities that I believe are 150,000 or less is their limit. It is a program that you can apply for. We were a week 7 winner this year, and we got a $5,000 check. Oh, and then I got another $1,000 check just for doing something else for them. And it takes me that long to put it on our social media and to hashtag T-Mobile on our posts throughout the season and put their free signage that they gave us up at the stadium too. So I ended up getting some money out of this. I got $6,000 out of T-Mobile, and it all went into the activity fund. And we kind of earmarked that of, hey, there's some things we need to do at the stadium. Now we have money that we don't have to go to the district and say, hey, the stadium's district stuff. And they go, no, the stadium is athletics, have fun. Okay, so we were able to take that money. We didn't move on past the $5,000. No, who's gonna scoff at somebody giving you $5,000? So you have to get creative about how you can go outside.
When you start to build your budget, you start talking to people, the number one thing you gotta do is you gotta connect with people. The next thing that you need to be able to do, once you've begun to start connecting with people, you got to start now having some important, intentional conversations. And I call that second C, collaboration. So you got to be able to start talking to people. You got to start talking to your CFO. You got to start talking to your superintendent. You got to start talking with your operations, person that's over operations. You need to be talking to everybody that's going to that your budget is going to be impacted by. That's very, very important. And once you've started really connecting with people, collaborating with people, the third and final thing that you really got to do is, this is really important, is you got to have the ability to carry out and make things happen. I think that's very important. Those are the 3 C's that in everything that I do athletically, it starts in with that. And so when you look at the strategic vision of budgeting, you're looking at, number one, you're looking at equity. That's equity all the way up from the middle school all the way up to the high school. So that's important that everybody has what they need to be successful. The other thing that you want to do when you're talking about championship level, or even you're talking about helping programs emerge to where they can be better, you need to be looking at the big word, and that's the middle word, and that's sustainability. So whatever you're doing and whatever budget, whatever things that you're trying to do to move money around, you got to have that in mind, that you want it to be able to sustain over a number of years. I think that's very, very important. And the last piece of the strategic vision of budgeting is making sure that you have those intentional conversations with your coaches, your head coaches, and understanding really what are their needs, what are their wants, and how you can help them get there. You may not be able to get them everything that they need at the time, but you are listening and you are taking time to make sure that they can achieve all that they need to achieve.
The trainer wants to have a seat at the table. They want to have a seat with, what are the policies? What are the procedures? They're one of the few people on the campus that touches every single sport, every single athlete, and probably will intervene in some aspect with almost any conflict with a parent at all year. So they need some training. They want to feel appreciated, want some value. I purposely, at the beginning of the year, I do a startup meeting at the beginning of the year. I bring risk management in. I bring HR in. I bring the insurance company in. I bring our nurses in, health services. There's a lot of conflict on a campus with health services. And then I also bring my boss to the table. And I'm very fortunate in my district that my boss is married to an athletic trainer and he gets what they do every single day, but that's not necessarily going to happen in every district. And let them have an opportunity to hear from all the pieces that they're going to deal with, and then them be able to ask questions back, to feel heard, feel value, and those kind of things. And then we follow up on those things throughout the year, probably bi-weekly. And that keeps our trainers in the district at multiple schools seeing what other people do, the issues, and their value of, hey, that person's not just giving an ice bag in the morning and telling them to go sit in the corner. No, there's treatment being done. There's issues being done. There's some value in them being heard multiple times throughout the year. But the relationship piece, knowing their family, knowing what they do, showing up on their campus, talking to them when there's struggle, super valuable to know all those things.
From year 1 to year 2, schools that were engaged in the Texas way saw a 23% decrease in ejections. From year 1 to year 2, schools that were unengaged saw a 35% increase in ejections. The biggest difference in ejections, as we can tell, is the engagement of the coach. The engagement with the program, and that being indicative of their engagement on campus. And as we talk about how do we build leaders, what is it that coaches can do to be engaged, I come back to this framework that we use called model, teach, test, and reward. Whether that's excellence, sportsmanship, standard, You fill in the blank, model, teach, test, and reward. It begins with the coach. If you don't demonstrate and coach and live the Texas way, then your students won't. It begins with you. But you can't just model, you have to teach. That's why we give you the curriculum. So I encourage you to break it down and to be tangible in what you do. You've got to give students the opportunity to be tested, to prove that they are learning, and if they are failing, to be able to be coached up in a safe place, and then they've got to be rewarded. Because what gets rewarded gets repeated. And so that's why I love those clear objectives of, hey, when we did 1,000 hours of community service, we can do the newspaper article, we can celebrate it, we can reward them for what they are doing. Having those goals makes celebrating wins and testing them and celebrating their wins a little bit easier.
5 different stakeholders in a group. It can be the principal, it can be AD, it can be assistant AD, it can be a parent, it can be a veteran teacher, we'll say that, or a counselor. And they all hold a certain lead position. As you come to them about whatever that conversation may be, they are listening and they all hear the same conversation, but they are taking it in differently based off of their responsibilities and role within their duty. They process that statement through the lens of their role. So if I come to you and say, I think I had it on there for an example, I'm not sure. Yes. So the example, all eligibility reports are due Thursday at noon. We have 3 different people. The athletic director hears accountability. The coach hears another task, and the counselor hears a deadline. 3 important people, but they all hear something different based off of their responsibility and based off of their role. Effective communication requires us to consider not only what we're saying, but who's receiving that. So I like the example like we were just talking about in the sports U. Regardless of who's receiving it, we're already being proactive on whatever question that may come from a parent, whatever question may come from the coach. We're already receiving it and we're already being proactive in that sense. So with this being, what I'm trying to say here is, make sure when you send out that message, make sure when you talk face to face, you think about who's about to receive it and in what tone and based off of their roles. So if you're getting ready to talk to a coach, you're getting ready to talk to your principal, you're getting ready to talk to the counselor, think in the terms of their role versus just you alone in that conversation.
What was your roadmap of here's my first 90 days? Like, did you come in and I'm going to start changing a bunch of things, or are you doing a listening tour? What is your strategy in taking over this position?
Well, my strategy was I want to protect tradition, and it's a smaller district. So I wanted to make sure, I wanted to be very intentional. I'm not trying to come in and make sweeping changes. Not every single thing that was going on in Princeton needed change. So my first 30 days, 45 days was about listening, learning, and assessing. Building relationships, getting to know people, getting to know the community, pronouncing names correctly, all of that matters. And, I kind of say that tongue in cheek, but making sure that you pronounce street names correctly and pronounce school names correctly because there's someone's name that's been revered in the community. Just getting an opportunity to get acclimated to where I am now. And I had met every single head coach, had a one-on-one with them. All of the middle school coordinators had one-on-ones with them, just in a relaxed setting. But I wanted them to get to know a little bit about me. I wanted to learn a little bit about them. But it was just coming in and learning and listening. I think anybody who goes into a new job, whether it's in education or otherwise, and you come in a lead position and you just want to knock everything down from the beginning, don't do it. That's not the way to lead.
You mentioned like being able to interact with people from different parts of the state. Is it also valuable just for the networking of maybe I want to hire that person?
Oh, definitely. Because if you catch the eye of somebody that you're talking to that may be willing to move, take a leap of faith, definitely. Those would be people I would be reaching out to in a heartbeat saying, hey, are you interested in becoming an assistant AD? Are you interested in becoming a head football coach, athletic coordinator, or just becoming maybe a head coach of a sport that could lead to something more? So definitely, those things are big with what we're doing here with the programs.
And there's like real hiring's happening. Like people are getting hired from those little interactions of like, hey, well, I'm your mentor. Could you come do a job? And it's like they accomplish their goal almost right away sometimes.
They do the resume reviews here. That's part of the Quad A stuff. And I know there's people that have been hired on the spot from those resume reviews. So you can't tell me what we're doing is not important here at the conference.
Hi, everyone. My name's Jeff Leahy, and I'm with BlazeBite. We make concessions easy. And what I want to do is a little different than I think everyone else. I want you guys to take out your phones right now. You will see that you guys have a piece of paper that tells you a little bit about BlazeBite, and there's a QR code on it. If you guys scan that QR code or go to orders.blazebite.com, you guys can place a piece of candy in there, and we'll show you how our app actually works. So instead of telling you about how awesome mobile ordering is for your fans, you guys can place an order right now, and you'll hear a ding, and the orders will come through. Oh, all right. So I'm going to read some of these out. I'll give you guys your names. Come up here, and we'll give you some candy. So we've got Melissa Walker. We've got Ramp Up Sports. We've got David, who ordered peanut M&Ms. We've got Colby, who ordered peanut M&Ms. Aaron Pittman got peanut M&Ms. Jennifer, 2 M&Ms and 1 regular M&M. So these things are coming through. All this beeping, this is your concession stand making money by having mobile orders, and we can have a line set up for you. So that's how BlazeBite works. If you guys want to learn more, we have all kinds of different solutions. So I'll keep reading it until we get to the 2-minute mark. Melissa Morris, we've got Christy, we've got Devora, we've got Jay Cherie, we've got Romy, we've got Lisa. All of you guys come up and grab your candy. So if you guys place an order, come through and we'll give you guys some candy. Come see us at booth 215. Thank you guys for your time.